6:34. If you would, please stand for a moment of silence, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Item number 1, review of the agenda. If there's not any questions, we'll go with item number 2, adoption of the agenda.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Any public comment? No public comment. Student Support Services, item number 3, consider approval of 22-23 pre-K Head Start contract. Dr. Thomas.
Well, this is the same contract that we approve every year, and by approving this, it'll allow us to get the funding to continue to do what we do with our Head Start program. I would recommend we accept it as presented. I think it's about if I remember correctly, $327,000. I'd have to look back over it a little bit more closely, which is up from what we received last year.
Any questions or discussions? Do you have a motion?
I'll make the motion to approve the 2022-2023 pre-K Head Start contract.
I'll second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries 4-0. Item number 4, consider approval of District and Community Relations Coordinator job description. Dr. Parrish.
Good evening. So this used to be our District Community Ed Director for Adult Ed. We just kind of changed the title and added some things in here about public relations, including Adult Ed. That's really the only major changes to this one is the title and more public relations.
Any questions or discussion?
Yeah, so on this, will their duties be, we had talked about, and this may be more of an athletic side, but will they be working with bringing in events and coordinating events for possible, for the community in our district, or is that out of the realm of their,
I mean, I would think that'd be a great idea.
I don't know if their responsibility would include that, or if that would, since it says community relations coordinator, on being able to,
Promote our
Yeah, I
facilities.
think that'd be a great idea.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've worked in a role very similar to that, where it was community ed director and oversaw a lot of social media aspects and communicated with the news and so forth, and brought in things like businesses and industry to come together and join
Yeah.
with the school district to really promote that. And so, yeah, I think that the possibilities are limitless there on that. This is funded halfway by the community ed grant, and so they'll be dedicated to that part, but then the other part that we'll be picking up, we can make that whatever we want it to be, and I think it covers it in this job description.
Like a PR compliment.
Yep.
Any other questions or discussion? Do you have a motion?
I make a motion to approve district and community relations coordinator job description.
Have a motion. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries 4-0. Item number 5, consider approval of Chief Operations Officer job description. Dr. Parrish.
This is a new job description, Chief Operations Officer. Dr. Thomas might be able to elaborate a little bit more on it as well, but we felt like it was a good job description for a foundational start for moving Clark County Public Schools forward. So,
And I'll be happy to jump in there. So Chief Operations Officer then would be, and we hope to bring to the board at the August meeting, a organizational chart that will show every employee who their direct supervisor is. And part of that would be what we already have in place with our Chief Academic Officer, Assistant Superintendent. We've got our I don't have the title correct, Alicia, so forgive me, but like the Finance Director, and then also a plan for a Chief Operations Officer to take care of all operations, including things like buildings, grounds, facilities, athletics, kind of supervision, insurance, those types of things that help operate the district. This is not one that we anticipate filling anytime soon, but we'd like to go ahead and get the job description out there so that whenever it is time to do that role, we'd be ready to go forward with that.
Any questions, discussion? If not, do I have a motion?
I'll make that motion.
I have a motion
I second.
and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, Dr. Parrish. Motion carries 4-0. Item number 6, consider approval of transportation wage study comparison. Ms. Ellis.
Good evening, everyone. So, we started down this journey with food service, so the next department we're tackling is transportation, which is our very in-need department right now with the situation going on. So, we pulled current tables from everyone, 2022 and 2023 tables. You can see there's a couple districts, Franklin, Whitley, and Madison, that we compare ourselves to as a comparable size district of students, staff, and such, being the comparable districts. They hadn't posted their tables yet, so that's why you see dashes on them. So with those who had posted, you've been presented with all of the positions of transportation: your bus monitor, your bus driver, vehicle mechanic, the supervisor vehicle mechanic, your dispatcher secretary position, your bus driver trainer, and then your transportation supervisor / director positions. So when you're looking at this wage study, we listed out all the counties, and then you're going to see the district average line, which is that yellow line, and that is including ourselves in that average. So it's all of those counties with that average, and that is where the average of these counties fall. And so the proposal that we're putting before you tonight is essentially trying to rise above that district average, and roll to a whole dollar increment of at least starting the scale, increasing at year 0, because we do year 0 to 27 plus. So we're saying to meet that line, if you raise the bus monitors $1, and then we're going to step them up 1% every year from that, and that compounds their rate up until that year 27. So when you actually look at year 27 from where we stand to what it ends up being, it's actually a $2.17 rate. So it's increasing as you go. So we put that proposal together for each position to try to be competitive with our surrounding counties and try to raise our scales to get these positions higher that we've got vacancies in for our transportation department. Is there any major questions you want? I don't know how deeply detailed you want me to talk about this.
Alicia, that puts us above the average
Yes, sir.
in every line, doesn't it?
Yes, sir.
You have here proposal number 2 at the bottom of each box
I thought you might ask.
for 330,000.
So, actually, when I put this together, I put 3 proposals together to present to Dr. Thomas, Mr. Stump, and Mr. Ford. And so, between us as a team talking about it, proposal 2 is the one that we decided on was the best proposal to present to you all as a whole. I should have taken number 2 off.
So,
there, and I
but,
just
so the
missed that.
proposal
But-
includes.
So there was a very, very conservative, being finance director, a very, very conservative line that was just like cents above the wage study. So that was proposal 1, and it was like $160,000, and it wasn't raising every position. And then proposal 2 you see is the 330, and then proposal 4 was a little bit even more aggressive. It was almost over 400,000. So we thought middle of the road, this was the best proposal, and it does raise our budget. You see that $330,000 for the number of positions and the level of people in those
Sustainable,
right now.
but room to grow.
I'm sorry.
Sustainable, but room to grow.
Yeah, I mean, it does increase our budget, and obviously we've had this conversation historically of, we need to look at our staffing allocations and such, and there's future conversations that we need to have about staffing, but, this is a need for our
Immediate.
transportation. We're needing positions, and a way to get that is to raise our salaries, and so trying to stay comparable and have a good reason and a methodology of why you're raising and how you're raising your tables is that wage study. So we got the wage study done for transportation to show you those numbers. So that's where we stand in
So
comparison.
you're
to
gonna
our other
start this
counties.
right away. If approved tonight, you will start this.
Yes, so
Yes.
what, I don't have the date for me. I was hoping we could, I meant to write that down. Start it with the next payroll period date of our calendar. Just so for payroll purposes, we're not in the middle of a payroll. I meant to write that date down, so I apologize, I don't have that before me.
But yes, that's immediate, by the next
Okay.
payroll
But
date.
yes, it
Okay.
will start with the next payroll
Good.
date, payroll calendar.
So on the same line of that, up as far as the mechanics go? I know we were kind of taking applications. Has anyone accepted, or we?
Interview tomorrow.
You have
We got
okay.
3 applications for lead mechanic tomorrow. We have 2 applications for mechanics.
Okay. Yeah, okay.
Any questions or discussion, any additional? If not, do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve transportation wage study comparisons.
I'll second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries 4-0. Item number 7, consider approval of fiscal year 23 salary table proposed change. Ms. Ellis.
Okay, so these changes are gonna incorporate the decision you just made, and plus some other proposals that we wanted to present to you all. So let's just start from the first page of the packet, and we'll go from there. So on our certified rank schedule, what we're proposing is, historically, our rank 4 position has been one amount. So we are suggesting that we take that and we step it out, and it's gonna be, stepped out at, each level up to the 27 plus. And the reason we're suggesting this is the community relations position you just approved would be paid at this level. And then we're proposing that our FRCs would be paid at this level. And so we wanted, obviously, to have the availability of the year stepping out and not a 1 mark. And also, another reason is they've extended the emergency cert for our teaching. So emergency certified teachers are paid at a rank 4. And right now, they could be having another year, but if we were still at the static 1 year mark, they're not gonna get a raise for doing a second year of teaching. So this would allow that to happen for those teachers this year who are coming back as emergency certs per the law that allows that. Just, if you remember, we stood here a year ago and had the conversation about moving our classified salary positions to this rank schedule. So we've added that line across the top. You see there's the certified, and then there's the classified of where the classified positions will pay on here. So that's what that schedule is. Okay? Any questions there? Okay. So then we move over to that leadership responsibility factor, and you were presented an updated, after some conversations today, you got an updated version earlier this morning of those percentages, and that includes that chief operations officer position you just approved. The district and community relations coordinator position is on there, and then we've not listed historically every single management position or days with extension, so that's what has been added. When you see red, that's the additional pieces. So we've got some teaching positions that have extended days based on contracts and the level of what they're teaching, like our band and our JROTCs and our agriculture. They have extended days. We've never had the transportation manager listed on there, but he's a management position with extended days and a percent, so it should have been listed on here. So we're just trying to clean this up and make sure everybody who has extended days or an index is listed on this sheet. Questions there?
So is the chief operation officer don't have an index?
So FY22, it didn't exist, so there's a dash.
Yeah.
So we're proposing for this, whoever would get put into that position going forward, now that it's been approved, would be a 26.5%. It'd be in between basically your high school principal, who's a 26, and then your chief operation assistant superintendent, who's a 27.5.
That's on the one that was uploaded today. It's a
In the
different
middle.
document.
The one I'm looking at don't have.
It's got a question mark on the one you're looking at. If you go back into your drive,
one?
it's in there.
Okay. Okay, gotcha.
There should have been an updated version added. Would you like this copy? Mr.
No, I saw it earlier.
Okay.
I just wanted to make sure.
It'll be 7A or 7B, I'm not sure.
Okay.
Oh, and then we're proposing that the high school assistant principals go from 42 days, which is kind of an odd number of making them a 229-day contract, to 43 days, which would make them a 230 contract, like the majority of other principals and assistant principals. Just kind of an odd, weird, quirky number there. We're just asking of that 1 day to kind of make it more equitable to other positions.
So what? So the band instructor, the JROTC instructor, and agriculture instructor wasn't on here last year, I would think. Is that correct?
They were
Is
not
it-
listed on this last year.
Is there a reason why we were adding on this year?
I was just trying to make sure that this schedule, that anyone who had additional days above a normal 187 contract was listed here or had an index, so that you all would see anyone who had extended contracts of any kind when it came to leadership responsibilities.
Really no changes, it's just,
Right, we've been doing that for the agriculture. They have actual contracts with, I guess KDE, the state, or
It's
it's mandatory that they have the days.
Legislation has mandated agricultural days. That's by
CTE,
statute.
thank you. I was like, what's the word I'm looking for? Thank you, Ms. Hoffman. And same thing with the ROTC. I mean, their programming mandates they have extra days built into what they're teaching. So again, for transparency, just trying to make sure that we were aware of all of that. Okay, so if we move on, and then trying to, as we have changed job descriptions and moved salary tables, I was just trying to, the classified job class, just kind of clean that up of things we're getting rid of, combining. We changed pay scales on our food service. We're now going to change pay scales on our transportation. So that's just kind of changing where they ping to a pay scale, is really what that is all about. And then you move on to your hourly schedule, and that's the same thing. You'll see strike throughs, and those tables are going away due to changing. Because mostly the food service and transportation now, by changing that stuff, and we're adding, you'll see new tables at the back of this packet. We're getting rid of those in positions we no longer use. We are asking that in this proposal that you would approve that we move our nurses from 181 days to 187 days. It's roughly a $15,000 cost on our budget, but they do a summer conference every year that they're required to go to, and then they have, opening and closing. It would allow them to have some extra time just to have all that and not flex their days through the year, because obviously we want them there when kids are there, but they're having to flex their days right now because of summer conference and that kind of stuff.
Just a
So,
lot of housekeeping stuff, really.
yeah, so we would just like to increase their days. And then the classified salary table, that is just showing you that some of those positions are grandfather positions once that person in that role goes away, because of how we have switched them to the certified paying table. This table will go away because they'll be paying on that new table, so that's showing that. And then again, creating the food service and transportation and that kind of stuff, it's moved their jobs. And then you'll see the brand new food service salary schedule, and then the new transportation schedule based on the wage study that we just talked about, all those new positions. Kind of ran through that really fast, but questions?
Any discussion or questions? Would somebody like to make a motion?
I'll make the motion to approve the fiscal year 2023 salary tables proposed with changes.
I'll second.
Okay. A motion and a second. All those in favor? Aye. Motion carries 4-0. Thank you, Ms. Ellis. Internal board business, item number 8, consider acceptance of resignation of District 2 board member. Does anybody want to make a motion to formally accept Ms. Constantine's resignation?
I'll make a motion to accept Ms. Constantine's resignation.
I'll second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries 4-0. Item number 9, or consent items, item number 9, consider approval of George Rogers Clark High School cross-country team trip to visit museums in Bristol, Tennessee on August 26th through August 28th. I make a motion to approve item number 9.
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries 4-0. I make a motion to adjourn. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
We're adjourned at 6:53.
I said no later.